Sure. So what does Team Greely mean to me? What would I like to share with the rugged professionals out here? As I'm coming up on the end of my 4th year in command at SMDC, first off, it's always a pleasure to come out here and visit the rugged professionals at Fort Greely and see the incredible mission that the garrison does. Everybody who works out here truly are unsung heroes. The Army, they know about Fort Cavazos, and they know about Fort Bliss, and they know about Fort Liberty and all the big installations. And they might not be so well informed or knowledgeable about what goes on here at Fort Greely, whether it's supporting the 49th Battalion, a Cold Regions Test Center, or just the day-to-day ops that we do here within the garrison. So all the rugged professionals out there, I couldn't be any prouder of them. And just this morning, I was able to recognize a few of them, and I know they represent the broader Fort Greely team out here. Whether I come out in the wintertime or the summertime, it's always the same here, though. Everybody's passionate about what they do. They're dedicated to the mission, a huge spirit of teamwork. And I was talking with Colonel Marshall earlier this morning about PDs that we have for jobs, but how PDs they're kind of followed, but people know that they have to pitch in and do other things in order to make the garrison run. And that's what I'm most proud of, is people aren't just specializing in their one jobs, but they're willing to be great teammates. They're willing to help out, do some things that are outside their PD, maybe that's outside their formal skill set, again, just to pitch in and help out. So couldn't be prouder. This may be my last visit out here to Fort Greely, so I appreciate everybody making these November temperatures rather mild for those of us that are coming from northern Alabama. Yeah, so why are people so integral to what I've really espoused for my 4 years in command? And former Chief of Staff of the Army, General McConville, talked about people first. And I think every leader has really taken in their mind of it needs to be people first in order to succeed. And in the Army, it's a people business. And within SMDC, it truly is people first. For 4 years, I've really been leveraging the Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey, the FEVs. And if you've read through the FEVs, they are survey statements. I call them statements of affirmation, so it's not a questionnaire, they're statements. And those statements are basically, I strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree with these different statements. And the statements transcend everything from leadership to agency to supervisors to my workplace. And when you read through those statements, they have become my Bill of Rights for any of the teammates here within SMDC. So if you read a statement that says, one of the statements, for example, might say something to the effect of, my supervisor, I know what is expected out of me day to day from my supervisor. Strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. Well, whether it's strongly agree or strongly disagree, just that statement is, I know what to expect out of my supervisor. That's a right. You should come to work every day with that right, that your supervisor should be providing you that kind of input. And so that's really been my impetus and my leverage for putting people first. And I use those statements out of the FEVs as my walk-around talking points as I talk with the different teammates within SMDC and say, hey, how's your supervisor, how are they doing with respect to some of these statements that are within the FEVs? And that opens up for a broader discussion about family and other opportunities within SMDC or things that I could do better as the boss. So having that connection with people, having a connection with the families, that's most meaningful to me. And I was just reading an article yesterday about the difference between being nice and being kind. And it was a very interesting article. Being nice is good, but it's a bit fleeting. Being kind is a purposeful action that you take. And what I've tried to do all 4 years is be kind and take purposeful action for the team here within SMDC. Yeah, so the unique command relationships that we have between SMDC and me as the senior commander, and then Installation Management Command Pacific and Ms. McCullough, and before her, Mr. Dietrich. First off, we have a great relationship. We talk weekly about the different issues that are going on between Fort Greely in the Army or Kwajalein Atoll in the Army. And so knowing that IMCOM-P and Ms. McCullough is engaged with the higher IMCOM leadership as well as Army Materiel Command leadership really makes me confident and makes me feel confident that the issues as they're being pushed up to me and through me as a senior commander also parallel being pushed up through IMCOM-P, and then Ms. McCullough and I will talk, like I said, we have our monthly meetings to make sure that we're level set. We both are going arm in arm forward to the broader Army enterprise to make sure that the needs and the requirements of Fort Greely are being met. It can be anything as mundane as the compressor system for the coolers at the commissary to what we're doing out in the missile field. And I want to make sure that the Fort Greely team knows that even General Karbler is aware of the compressors at the commissary, and I track that, and we're pushing to get those kind of issues resolved. And again, because the good partnership that I have with IMCOM-P and the constant communication that we have, we're able to move arm in arm forward on whatever the issues are. Yeah, so as the sun's setting on my career, I think that for Alaska, we have to get this in geographical correctness here. So I would say the sun setting on my career is more of an Alaska sunset right now. Summertime Alaska sunset, meaning that the sun we thought was setting, and then it just comes back up again, and it's never completely set all the way. Obviously, I'm joking a little bit about the Senator Tuberville hold. And I'll just talk about that just a little bit too. There's absolutely no hand-wringing, no woe is me about being able to extend my time in command at SMDC. I love the people. I love the mission that we're doing. It's super important. And I just love the opportunity to continue to be able to lead. And I have to set a good example. I have to set example for the SMDC team. I have to set example for the teammates that are at Fort Greely, out at Quaj, for all the Army Air Defense soldiers. My two kids, one who's in the Army, one who, God willing, will graduate here next spring and come into the Army as well. So I just have to set that example. So as the sun sets on my career, and I look back at my time in SMDC and my 3 visits to Fort Greely as the SMDC commander. By the way, this is not just my 3rd visit to Fort Greely. I've been to Fort Greely multiple times when I was the Army Test and Evaluation Command commander and had Cold Regions Test Center out here, so I'd always made an opportunity to come out here at the coldest of the cold so we could see how well the Army equipment was doing in cold weather testing. But my 3 visits out here over the past 4 years of SMDC has allowed me to see how Fort Greely did during COVID, how we came out of COVID, how we kept missions going. We never dropped the ball, we never failed. We did it in the harshest environment that the Army has to offer, frankly. We've done it with a broad mission set, again, whether it's test, whether it's supporting the 49th Battalion to do our missile defense mission. I will always have the fondest memories of Fort Greely, Alaska, and the rugged professionals as whenever that sun finally sets on my Army career.